Boys and girls, welcome back to the Zyori Podcast. It is May 8th, 2018, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. This is the early bird special because we need to accommodate all you Euros out there. Well, one Euro in particular. It's Mr. Malistrix who will be joining us for this exciting episode of the Zyori Podcast. It is 1:25, and of course we got Trent Pax back with us again. Boys, how we feeling here on this fine Tuesday?
Well, you go. I mean, our special guest here. Yeah, so nice to see you again.
Thank you.
Since Romania.
Mm-hmm.
Romania?
That's
Last
where
time
we saw
Romania.
you.
Yeah, we had a good time in Romania. First time I met you properly. I met you at TI once, and I knew who you were.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
We said hi, and you said hi, and then we walked by. Then we actually really interacted at Bucharest, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was fun. That was a good event. And then, obviously today, good news. PGL has decided we did okay. So Andrew and I will be traveling to China.
That's
first
true.
time.
That's true.
How have the comments been from your guys' invitation?
Yeah, Trent, let's get the Reddit report real quick.
Oh, I forgot. There was the best one was next one PGL full of Moonduck garbage, I believe, was my personal favorite. So that's pretty much it. But no, reception seems good. People are very excited. Obviously, full talent list, going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
2 hosts. I think that's awesome. I think that's really going to help Shiva and Red Eye just stay fresh the whole day. I wouldn't want to do that shit all day.
I think this is going to be...
I don't cast all day.
DAC was the event that was renowned for having a great format, correct? And it had a lot of games. I think this one's going to have a lot of games. I think that this is going to have almost like a mini TI feel, and they're going to do some sort of format where there's simultaneous matches until it's on the main stage. So I think we'll make good use of all those talent. But what do I know? I haven't even seen a show plan yet, so, you know.
True. But... apparently this is like the best format. If you guys haven't seen it, it's crazy. It is super. It's a super major, right? Best of 3s all over the place. I think, is it the format that also has no? I don't think there's a best of 1.
There's not a single best of 1. They got rid of that scourge. Is that what you're saying? That's.
I know that's what they did for DAC, which was pretty crazy. If I'm not mistaken here, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I only sleep in 3-hour chunks. I don't remember a whole lot. I actually can't wait to travel and sleep.
So,
like, I'm gonna be able to sleep for a solid chunk. Do you know how it doesn't happen anymore? I sleep in 3-hour intervals.
It's true. This is gonna
it takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, this is gonna be one of those great. You get the excuse of, oh guys, I gotta go work. Sorry, and then you know, you.
I thought it was about the kid. I thought you were because of the kid. It's not because you're working. You mean 3-hour intervals.
No, it's the kid. No, that's what I mean. Yes, the kid is the reason.
So, did you do the thing I did when my son was born? Like for the first 2 weeks, I used to wake up in a panic just to check he's not dead.
Yeah, I do that.
Did you do that?
Yeah. Or like anytime I wake up, you just kind of listen, like, because sometimes he's like loud. It'll be like grunting and stuff, and you're like, oh, I wish he just, be quiet. And then when he's quiet, you're just like, oh my god, is he still breathing?
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're like, yep, still breathing.
Breathing. Why is that the go-to? Like, of all the things that could be wrong of the spectrum, I hope he's not dead.
Well, have you ever heard of there's that sudden infant death syndrome? They just die.
What?
They
just die. Syndrome?
Oh,
sorry, mine's 9.
So you didn't even know there was a syndrome. Terrifying.
Yeah, Maly, you might need to raise your sensitivity a little bit. When we get excited, I hear myself occasionally in little blips.
I'll back away.
So it's like it might be that it almost sounds like feedback from your headphones being too loud, if that makes sense.
All right.
So
you keep chatting.
We will. Don't worry. I'll keep you in the know.
Someone's at the door.
Great. Anyway, so I'm looking at the format though of the China Super Major, and it's 16 teams, of course, 10 invites, 6 regional qualifiers, 1 team from each region. We covered those qualifiers. Group stage, it's 4 groups of 4 teams each. Like you said, all BO3. It's a double elim GSL style bracket for the group stage. So it's not a round-robin group stage like the playoffs. We're still hearing the feedback as he's AFK.
Hello.
Hi. Hey, welcome back. So we're just talking about super major group stages. Top 2 teams from each group advance to upper bracket of the main event. Bottom 2 teams go to lower bracket of the main event. So there's no elimination in the group stage purely for seeding. But the seeding is a big deal. I guess seeding sells it short because starting in the lower bracket's a pretty big disadvantage. The real question, though, is the bracket. It says all games except grand finals are BO3 and grand finals are BO5. So, Trent, you were right. There's not a single best of 1 in this entire tournament.
Yeah, I saw many people hyped. So
However,
looking forward to it.
However,
there's always a bad side.
Only the final 2 days will have the live crowd.
That is true. That is kind of crazy.
It says it on the Wikipedia. I mean, I
talked to S4 at the epicenter, and he said he thinks you should fight for your right to deserve to be in front of the fans. So he thinks he should. I asked him, do you think every team should get to play in front of a stage? And he said he thinks you should have to earn it.
All right. So the sappy, like, oh, you get all the way to TI and you don't even get to go play on the main stage is just those are just fans that are upset that they don't get to see their team on the main stage. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. The Na'Vi fans.
But it's pretty cool. I'm pumped to see this format, though, Trent. 1.5 million on the line. I've been saying 1.3 in my head, and I don't know what's wrong with me. It's 1.5. It really is the super major. 2,200 pro circuit points on the line. Has anyone done the math on the break points with this bitch? You know,
yeah, I've seen a couple different ones. I know Knoxville did one as well.
Okay.
Where he did like 10,000 simulations, and I think in every single one LGD qualified, even though mathematically not necessarily. But yeah, let me see. So basically, people who are essentially locked would be VP, Liquid, Secret, LGD, Mineski, Newbie, and realistically, Vinci's also pretty much locked in. So really, the only people who would fight, it's like EG is basically the one who's like fighting to stay in top 8. And then after them, it's VGJ Thunder who are going to be trying to steal that.
Okay.
As they're going to be at Super Major.
Interesting.
Poor EG.
Yeah, but you know, if certain other teams win, you know, there's also we still have MDL, right? It's not China's not the only thing left. The Super Major, we still have the MDL Shanghai Major and then ESL1 Birmingham. So that's a lot of majors, guys.
Yeah,
that's a lot of points.
A lot of mobility. We are we're backloaded, as they say. But a pretty hype tournament. TNC, LGD now looking pretty hot, and VGJ Storm, Infamous. Should be fun. The South American squad. See Papita.
What did they make it to? At Shanghai.
Super major.
Okay. All right.
It must be annoying to be a South American team. Every time you win a game, all their press are like, wow, how does it feel to win? How does it feel to represent your continent? Every single time. These poor guys have to represent their nation, just win one game, and the press are like, wow, how does it feel? What's it like to win a game? Like,
I mean,
terrible.
It's true. How can you not ask that question, though? That's what sucks about being pressed. You sort of have to, because what else are you going to say? It's a genuine upset every time they win something at a major like this. Isn't it?
Yeah, that's depressing.
I mean, maybe, so when you look at the lineup, maybe the Final Tribe is the only team that you could say, okay, they went 1-1 or they went 2-1, Infamous 1, and you wouldn't be super surprised.
Yeah.
Everyone else here, I look at that and go, yeah, Infamous should not beat this team. I guess maybe VGJ Storm, if they're not looking together, the mostly NA boys. Resolution.
I didn't even notice, but OG didn't participate in the Super Major qualifier.
No, they were a direct invite.
No, they're not at Super Major. OG are not there. Oh, OG are there. OG are there.
OG are at
direct invite.
My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was looking at the wrong page. I was like, that's strange. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's because I was looking for a green logo and not a blue logo, and that's why I just fucked up.
How dare you insult the good name of Red Bull on this show, sir?
Yeah, sorry. I mean, I kind of forgot their direct invite because I mean that's kind of a joke. So why are they direct invite?
No, I mean, wasn't that part of the drama?
Original joke. Joke.
I mean, wasn't that the thing? You know?
Yeah, basically.
Great.
I mean, Navi's a direct invite too, I suppose. So what can you say? I mean, frankly, there's 10 direct invites, so I guess there's quite a bit of wiggle room.
Come on,
when you get that
hasn't
far.
Navi looked a little better recently? I saw him beat Secret
they're okay,
in that one tournament that one time.
Should they be directly invited to the biggest tournament of the entire year outside of TI? No. Should OG? No.
No.
Should VGJ Thunder? Maybe. They're like the bottom of my list.
Did we talk about this on What the Duck or something? Because it kind of begs that broader question. What do you do? Like, can you really blame the tournament for wanting to include a giant brand like OG, even if they're not playing at 100%? I get it from the TO perspective. I get it. I've been like, hey, guys, this budget's pretty fucking big, and we haven't figured out how to sell the rest of it yet. Maybe if we invite two of the biggest brands in Dota, that'll help get a few more sponsors on board. That strategy works. Na'Vi and OG definitely bring the fan base, and sponsors know it. So what are you gonna do? Just tell PGL to, oh, sorry, get fucked, dude. You've got to invite, Mineski because they had a good run.
Yeah. Just pray to God Alliance never wins anything again.
I mean, they did invite Mineski, but you know what I mean. It's like, I just don't know what the solution is. I understand the complaint, but I don't know what to do about it. What do you think, Maly? What's the cure-all? What's the TUM?
I think tournament organizers should have like 2 invites that can not be based on points, but they have to be like, they'd have to say what their justification is.
Navi's really popular. Dendy's awesome.
Just 2 invites. I don't mind like popularity invites being there just to make it a bit more interesting. But obviously, because there's points, it sort of screws it over. But I don't know. I think it's okay if like a team's like relatively good and maybe like 1 or 2, if they're popular. If they did like well in a previous iteration of the tournament, I'm fine with it. So let's say if they did well in Summit 8 and then Summit 9, they weren't as high on DPC, you could invite them. I think that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I wonder how they'll do the groups. Has that been established? Is it going to be random draw? Will they just pick?
I don't know. That's a great question.
I would imagine they'll make some sort of little show about it or do some kind of drawing, but...
well, they only had 10 direct invites. I was gonna say if they had 8 direct invites, you could just do it that way. You could do 2 in each group, and then.
Oh yeah, because one group's gonna have to have 3 invites.
And that begs the other question. It's like, do you value OG when you're putting the groups together higher because they were directly invited, or do you try to balance
or LGD, the China qualifier who just won a major?
I mean, it is a serious question though. Do you just do it by manual? Like, okay, this is the most balanced. Let's be realistic based on results.
No, 4 groups. You just do top 8 DPC. You cop out. That's what you do.
All right. I think that's a
100%.
fair way to do it. I'm just I'm spitballing here, dog. What do you think they're actually going to do? I think it's going to be RNG. Get ready. They're going to have an awesome format, and then they're going to roll the dice on it, and Knoxville is going to blow a fucking gasket. That's my prediction.
Funny.
I ran a few permutations myself. And
I've made a Google Doc with all the possible permutations. I never understand his Google Docs.
Well, that's because you're a bozo, dude. You're just not smart enough.
I just want him to tell like X needs to win Y, and then they qualify. Right? I mean, all the different colors and stuff. It's just too much.
Well, okay. So Maly, let's dive into a day in the life, right? Because I know you spent a lot of years. Was it the editor in chief at Join Dota? Was that your big claim to fame for a long stretch there?
It was actually before that in a completely different game. So like maybe mid 2000s, I worked for SK Gaming. Okay. They're quite big. They're still big. I was editor in chief there. That was like my first big job, I guess. And then I sort of disappeared for a few years, and then I came back because Milk, the Dota 2 player, he messaged me on Facebook and he said, "I've got this website called Join Dota. Do you want to help out?" And that's basically how I joined. I didn't even know what Join Dota was.
Okay.
Huh. That's funny.
So now you've kind of graduated to more of just the freelance life as a journalist, or are you like full-time Join Dota? What's your deal right now? Where does your allegiance lie?
My allegiance lies. Join Dota is always, I've done almost 5 years now. So I always like to do something with Join Dota, but I don't do as much as I used to. I do other projects I like to do TV scripts. I write about like different games, like arcade games, PlayStation games, Xbox games. I write about Fortnite. I write about Battlegrounds. Lots of it's anonymous, so you wouldn't know that I've done it, just because that's sort of the deal. You get paid, but your name's not on it. But that's fine with me.
Oh, that's right. You were putting together some of these top 10 Pokemon lists and shit.
I was. I did top 10 Pokemon, and then I did top 10 Spider-Man games.
Wow.
I did one which is really interesting. Top 10 weapons in games, top 10 guns of all time, and then top 10 weapons.
Let me guess. The AWP was number 1.
No way.
I didn't put it in there. That's esports bias. I did put the gravity gun in there.
I'm not sure what that is. Did you put the portal gun in there?
I did. I did.
That's deserving.
That's cool. So
much. It's technically
cooler
not a gun, but at the end of the game, I don't care if it spoils the game, but whatever. You technically use the gun to hurt the AI. So technically, it was used as a weapon, even though you don't fire any bullets. So I did put that in.
So that was the qualification. If it does damage to anyone at any point, it's a weapon.
Was the Halo 1 pistol part of this?
No, I put the Halo, the sword thing.
Okay.
Sword
all right.
And the Needler. And me and Slacks had a big argument because I wanted to put Final Fantasy VII's main character has a sword called the Buster Sword. And then
that's not
Slacks
a gun.
No, it's like top 10 weapons. Yeah. Top 10 weapons, and then Slacks was like, that doesn't count. That's like some anime Final Fantasy kind of bullshit. You can't put that in the list. And I was like, it's super iconic. It's top 10 iconic weapons. That was it. So I put that in there, the top 10.
I see. So the parameters are changing as we hear the story. So it's all making more sense.
Top 10 guns, top 10 iconic weapons. That was the ones I did. Top 10 Pokemon was difficult because I had to decide whether it was first generation or like all of them. But yeah. But Slacks like loves Pokemon so much, it's unbelievable. Like he's a complete. Loads of you like them. Mort as well, I think. Mort was a big Pokemon.
Yeah. Especially the 150. I don't go much past that. No.
So
that was interesting.
Anyway, I wanted to circle all of that backstory into when writing articles, especially more Dota focused. Do those statistics ever help you? Do you ever look at that raw data and go, "Oh my, this has inspired me to put a front pager on Join Dota there," or is it just
what kind of statistics?
I don't know, anything. Like that. Like let's say for example, all of these discussions about tournament formats, right? Is that newsworthy? Is that an interesting topic? Because we go back and forth around here. Same with predictions. The whole, the art of predictions. That's a big deal for you guys, right?
Predictions are good. I think basically the ones I like are morality questions because those are always the ones that people talk about.
Wait, morality questions? Like, would you rather?
For example, like Smash. Like Smash, for example, should he be banned for all eternity?
Okay,
that kind of question I think is really interesting. Something that like it's really difficult to know the straight answer.
So more of a think piece, kind of.
Yeah, so like anything like an admin's decision or something was changed or whether you should patch the game before a major tournament. Stuff like this was like, a morality, what's right and wrong, and then people actually get into real debates that's not like, oh, lol, Navi sucks, haha, Navi great, Navi trash, this kind of nonsense. But if it's like those are things I really like the most to write about.
I noticed you like the comment driving articles, right? You want people you got to be a little dicey in the article to get people really going down.
I don't know about dicey, but like the recent one I did was the EG drama about VGJ Storm and Complexity when they were unhappy that I don't know if you know this one, where they moved the regional dates of a tournament to make to allow EG to play in epicenter qualifier.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think it was the Madness qualifier, which they didn't win.
I think I heard of it.
Yeah, you heard of it. Okay, so that was a really good one, just because it's it gets people thinking of like what's right and wrong, and then people have different values, and there's no right answer. So for me, those are the best. The prediction pieces are interesting, but at the same time, not super interesting. I think personally, because like lots of times you could just say the safe. Most people, if you ask a caster, "Hey, do you want to predict this tournament?" They're not going to say a good team is going to lose because they'll get in trouble. And they're not going to say a good team is going to win because they don't want to look foolish. So you're not really going to get very good predictions.
How would you describe the current state of, not even esports, just Dota? Is it journalism? Is that the word for it? Whatever the craft of writing articles and stuff.
Written content.
Written content. There. The last little drama I remember was the one with the, oh God, what the hell is the name? The C company, Fallout Gaming, and the whole pyramid scheme thing. Then all those folks that got the cease and desist letters. That was one of the last really good, like, Dota journalism. We broke this story. Oh, wait, we made up half of it. But still, there's a story here. And ever since then, I feel like it's been a little silent. It's just everyone's been playing it safe because somebody actually did step up and send cease and desist letters, and we saw those dopey-ass formal apologies of, I, Master Ramen, personally apologize if I offended, and it's just like, Jesus, dude, this is
it's like the Overwatch
painful
thing where I'm very sorry I bumped into you. Did you see that?
No, what is that?
That was pretty funny. That was
a real
I thought
thing?
that was a joke, and then it was quite real.
Yeah, some guy bumped into someone and then he tweeted about it to say it was an apology. He just like bumped into someone, but he felt the need he should apologize.
Wow.
Yeah. But those kind of big drama articles are good, but sometimes I actually don't use them. There was one I remember a couple of years ago. There was an NA player, I can't remember his name now, but he was charged with assault on his girlfriend or something. Well, he was like accused of assault.
Oh, in Dota?
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
It was well, I don't want to be wrong. So anyway,
I don't know.
Continue.
It doesn't matter.
A well-known player.
Yeah.
And at the time, loads of like Ghost Gamers and others wrote about it, and I chose not to simply because he wasn't actually proven guilty. He was just accused.
Yeah.
And then this, just like the way the internet works, is that everyone would like just assume he's guilty, and the thing is they never actually cover what happens after. They just say, "Oh, look, someone's scandalous." So there are some things I would probably get a lot of traffic that I wouldn't use. But I think that's just up to different journalists what they like to do. Some people like easy clickbait stuff, like Cybersport did an interview.
Those
with
Cybersport titles are killing me, dude.
Like, I hate, like, just before TI invites come out, Toby's like really happy about this. Like, the quote was, "I hate it," right? It was Toby DPC Pro Circuit. I hate it. That was the tagline, and they've done it a lot. But I mean, these kind of things is maybe a bit too much for me. But I can understand why some websites like to do it. So I think it depends on the editors. Some people like clickbait stuff, but generally, I like to do something that will have a positive impact on the community, not focus too much on something terrible that happens.
Right.
Just because it gets really depressing. Like, the whole of Reddit is like, oh, this is terrible. I hate this. So and so should be invited. It's too much miserable, I think.
Every time they like write an article and I see someone tweeting about it. Like, I remember LD was like, ignore the clickbait title. Yeah, I was just like, that sucks, dude. And then, as you said, the Toby one was awful. And even Breaky's, like, Breaky just had an interview, obviously had an outstanding time, the Epicenter Major. And the title for his is literally adding a new hero as a major starts. There's just something wrong with that. And I'm like, well, that's, like, you take the one part, probably the whole interview, where Breaky might have thrown a little shade or, like, had something, to disagree with, instead of focusing on the fact of, like, oh, hey, look, you've made a very positive transition from one game to another, just cast your first major, and the title is him shitting on Valve, essentially, even though he's completely right to say that. Like, that's such a shitty title, dude. What an awful way to frame your article.
I did an interview with them at the Bucharest Major. I don't remember what the title was, but I don't remember it being that zingy. However, at the same time, I might not have said anything that interesting, so...
I think it's like, for those kind of websites, you have to sort of think on their side, which is that, for example, Join Dota has a community that's already on our website. So even if we don't go on Reddit or we don't go on Twitter, other people's Twitter, people will still visit our website.
Yeah.
Like, they'll visit anyway. But if you're a website that people don't visit, you need that kind of thing to make people to come, because they were not going to just stumble upon it. Oh, I wonder if Toby's article is online. They don't know, so they have to do a kind of title like that. But like, I hate it was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was bad.
What about, do you remember the On Gamers days?
I do.
Were you involved with that project?
I wasn't, but my friends were. I remember On Gamers.
My friends were. Okay, that's good. Whatever happened, why did they close up shop? Because I remember that was part of the conundrum with them, like when they got, whatever it was, not Shadow Banned, but
they got banned.
Domain banned or whatever. Yeah. That was a big deal. That so much of their traffic came from Reddit that without that source, they couldn't sustain what their operations were.
Yeah, people just spend normally a lot of money, too much money. They'll say, like, oh, we're going to make the new website. We're going to do what no one has done before. We got all this money. We're going to give them all these editors. Hey, I'm going to pay you a real salary. Come work for me. But then they don't actually make money from the clicks. So that's generally, like, whichever website arrives first is the one that will stay.
Yeah.
In esports, like Team Liquid was StarCraft, and it never died out, and then that later became Dota 2. Join Dota was one of the first. Ghost of Gamers has always been around. It's really difficult to have another one. Mm-hmm. So you have to do these zingy titles.
Zingy.
They are zingy. Zany even. Yeah. I'm gonna be watching out in China, dude. That Cybersport guy comes, I'm gonna put on my nice pants.
Oh, can I tell you something interesting about Cybersport and Epicenter, actually?
Sure.
So Epicenter is run and organized by ES Force, which is the same company that owns Cybersport, which is the same company that owns VP and the same company that owns Navi.
Right.
I guess, but maybe some people didn't know that. So I was lucky in that I was sort of in the Cybersport room. So Cybersport had their own special room on the same level as all the players and all the talent. But they put the other press, which were not ES Force, on a different floor where they couldn't reach the players and they couldn't reach the talent. So this has happened in previous tournaments, but the system was all the players in the tournament would appear for a press interview, like an hour block, and Cybersport would get the players 1 hour before. So they get first access to all of the players.
Wow.
And then they would give it to the rest of the press. Now, it was lucky for me because I was kind of in the Cybersport room. So for me, it was fine. But there was another website, I think it was VP Games or something. It was difficult for them because they were like getting the scraps. And it was pretty funny because in the grand finals, I was told there was a winner's interview and I was really excited. And then someone whispers to someone else, yeah, sorry, there's no winner's interview for you. And I was like, oh, okay. But it's like really obvious why there was no winner's interview for me. But I just thought it was funny. But I guess for some people, that kind of thing that's the kind of morality question I would think is interesting. Like, technically, they're organizing the tournament. They own their own news site. Why shouldn't they give people,
gotta make some money? I saw that stage. There's, that's, whew, damn. That
Yeah.
stage
How do you
was
guys feel about it?
insane. Was it crazy in person?
I actually have to say, it was quite crazy, but then you realize a lot of it is actually cardboard cutouts.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I actually thought it's real. So then, but I would say it was actually as impressive like when you were there. Like Epicenter was really hype. Like inside the arena, the crowd is good. There was lots of stuff to do around the arena. Like which maybe didn't see like this Monster Energy was there. There was signing sessions with the players. So it was really good, I think. But what do you guys think about the VIP press? The idea that they can get first dibs. How do you feel about that? I'm interested to hear your opinions.
An hour seems a little excessive because that's like, what player's gonna stick around for longer than an hour? But the idea of getting first dibs when it's your tournament, I'm kind of okay with that. You gotta make some money. Doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I see the conundrum, and I see why it's sort of anti-competitive in a weird way, and it's really shitty for an aspect of the ecosystem that's always already struggling and kind of picking up scraps. And it's like, it's hard to be the cool journalist, hanging out with the players and the talent behind the scenes and also trying to get the scoop so that you can write a zingy article. It's a tough balance that you got to ride, So I get that. But at the same time, tournaments are kind of a private affair. They're the ones shelling out the cash. I think they're the ones that get to make that call. There's no rule or policy anywhere from anyone that says it needs to be a level playing field of giving access to press outlets. As far as I'm concerned, they could tell everyone else to fuck off and just keep it all for themselves. And there's nothing in the rules to stop them from doing that. It's kind of a douchey thing to do, but I think they could. Now, should they is a whole nother thing. Is it kind of fucked up? Yeah, maybe, but
I don't think it's that fun. I think it's.
I'm a business.
For me, I understand. Like, I can understand the thing, but I can also understand why some press would feel frustrated. But at the same time, they're still helping you to get the interviews. They're just helping you an hour later. What's an hour really? It's not like a huge deal, but you can understand everything. Oh, it's unfair, corruption, Russians.
I mean,
really, like
that right there is a scoop, right? That's a zingy headline.
That should have been your article.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah, one of the funny conspiracies was that one of the members of the press messaged me a photo. I arrived late to Epicenter. I was only because of my visa. I basically second last day I arrived, and they were like, "Oh, the press? They're sitting on the floor." And they had this like photo. It's really funny from the floor, and you've got all these press sort of leaning against the wall with like phone chargers plugged in. It looks super hot. It looks horrible. And I was like, "Oh my god, this is horrific." But when you get there, what you don't realize is right next to that room is a lovely VIP room, which they had access to, which could see the stage.
Really?
It's just it didn't have any outlets, so they had to go outside. But that's just one of the perception things, like about press. Oh my god, I'm on the floor, no chairs.
That's
it's Eternal Envy blog all over again. But when you get there, like, hang on a minute, you've got a room right next door. It'd be fine.
Well, but that's like one of those caveats of like, oh, we'll give them this great VIP room, but there's no electricity.
Yeah, it'd be like
you
if there
wanted
was no
that?
Internet. Like, it would be so useless. Like,
This is
the best room ever.
The one room in the building without Wi-Fi, but you've got a great view of the stage. Oh, great. Thank you. It's tough.
And an unlimited supply of Monster. I mean, I was fine because I was with Cybersport. They were nice. They put me in their room, so I had like a space on the table. But I can understand the other press. It was pretty funny.
Now that we have you here, I saw someone mention actually in the chat. What do you guys think about the loser interviews from TI? I actually love them. And you're an interviewer, journalist, kind of a guy here, Mal. Do you think bring them back, kill them forever? What do you think?
The funny part about that was that I think Valve invited Jacob Milk, and they didn't tell him what he was going to do. Yeah. And then they gave him the loser interviews. Loser interviews, I think Machine did them well. I can't remember what tournament it was. What tournament was that?
TI, wasn't it?
Yeah, 7 or 6? 6? It was 6, right?
Oh, 6 was Milk, right? And 7 was Machine? Or 6... No, 7 was Machine did it, but
did they do them again at 7? I can't remember because I was there.
I don't remember the order. I think Milk did the most recent. Whichever one Machine did, I liked better as well.
Yeah, I think Machine did it well.
Yeah, Machine did 7, and Milk and Charlie did 6, I think.
Yeah, okay. So you sort of need interpersonal skills of a higher level, I think, to sort of understand people's emotions. So I don't think it's well suited to everyone. But I think Machine is someone who could do. I like the loser interviews, to be honest. I think you should do them, but maybe not with every team. If they're really distraught, don't do it. I think that's general rule. If like when we were at the PGL major and we're doing content, me and Slack's general rule is if the players are really not up for it, just don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point forcing players because you're just going to get rubbish. So I do think loser interviews are good, but they'd have to be up for it, I think.
It was very humanizing.
Yeah, I think they can get old quick. Like, I don't think every tournament should do it, but I think a tournament like TI, it's such a crazy, stressful, emotional roller coaster. I think at this point, most teams realize that it's valuable to get at least one player, like even if they feel like complete shit, to just go do a quick interview because the audience loves it so much. And like you said, Trent, it humanizes kind of the whole team and especially that player. So there are big benefits to just, kind of dealing with it and in the moment just talking to the interviewer. And if they're a good interviewer, it's not super painful. It's just sort of a quick, like, just say whatever you want to say and then maybe one or two follow-up questions and that's it. Get the hell out of here.
I remember some of them were kind of nice too, where they're like thanking the fans and stuff, and they seem genuinely pleased to like kind of thank their fans and be like thanks for all your support and everything. We really do appreciate it. We'll come back next year. That actually felt pretty genuine from some of the players. So
yeah,
I think it's a nice moment.
The other issue with it though is that I don't know of any talent offhand that enjoys doing loser interviews. It's sort of like a short straw type activity. When you're in the back room, you're in the green room, they're like, all right, guys, we want to do loser interviews. Who's interested? Everyone immediately starts looking at their phones and goes, oh, God, I hope they don't look at me. I hope they don't look at me. Because it's a brutal thing to do. And it has it's so easy to fuck it up. One little slip or one little poke or joke in the wrong spot, and it's a total disaster. So it's, Machine makes it look easy. I don't really know him that well, but I can't imagine it's something that he sees as easy,
He's just naturally charming. Like, Machine is like, you feel like he would be successful in the real world even if he wasn't in esports, just because he's really good with people. And if you're doing loser interviews, it's really easy to ask them. It's really upsetting with players. And then lots of them get touchy. And if the first question, especially the first question, if that's too harsh, then the rest, they're just going to shut down. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, you lost, you're not going. Or like, for example, Epicenter, lots of press were asking players, oh, so you're going to have to go through the regional qualifiers. Are you confident? And, these players, obviously, they're upset. They don't want to go in the TI qualifier. So I think day 9 would be okay at loser interviews.
Yep.
He comes back. Or maybe an ex-player. I think maybe that's why they picked Milk.
I think that was the idea of Milk, find a perennial loser to come and do the loser interviews, right? So
yeah. That's savage but accurate, I think. Yeah, I don't know. This conversation makes me think that there's also an opportunity for, especially an event like TI where it's so long and some teams do get eliminated with, like 3 days to go in the tournament. There's still a whole story there. And like, Maly, in your experience, do teams ever follow up for either written or, face-to-face interviews, like after they've had that time to cool off? Let's say they're eliminated on Thursday. Grand finals are on Sunday. That Saturday, they're kind of back to a normal state and they're willing to open up a little bit. Does that ever happen? Or is it once the elimination is there, opportunities lost and they just fuck off?
Opportunities lost. I think Dendy is a player that will do it regardless of the result. I mean, he obviously loses a lot, but I mean, he does it regardless. Like, he'll do it whatever mood he's in, he will do it. So I think it depends on the team. Mm-hmm. Generally, no. Like, even if a player says, "Oh, we'll do an interview," normally that interview doesn't happen. Like, if they lost.
Right.
The only one that I can think of that we did was at the Frankfurt Major after Cloud9 got destroyed and the entire team went home except MSS, and we offered to take him to Chipotle, and he agreed to do an interview literally at the Chipotle in the mall. So, it was an okay interview. It was solid, but that wasn't, that was just one player. It was but I don't know. It just makes me think that, like, especially again, an event like on the magnitude of TI, just getting there is a whole story for a lot of these teams, even if it's qualifying through DPC or whatever it is. And then the run through the group stage is a whole story. And then that run through the upper bracket, like, there's so much opportunity for awesome fucking content there, but it's so hard to pull the logistics together to get it.
Yeah, I mean, it is good content, but I think it should be in the contract. Like, if you win, you do an interview. If you lose, you do an interview. That's how it should be. It should be contractually obliged. Not they suddenly turn up at the tournament and like, hey, by the way, we've got a really good idea. We're going to interview you because you lost. Like, they're not going to say yes. If they know already that's part of the deal, then yeah. It's just some players don't like to suck it up and some do. That's why I always liked Alliance, because their players are always just like, whatever happened, they would do stuff because they've sort of had media training. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it depends on the team. Some teams do, but some teams don't. Generally, even if a team said they'll do an interview and they lose, it probably won't happen.
That brings up another interesting thought, though. Media training, because that's one of those things that's progressing over time. It's like now more than ever, teams have some kind of media training, and it's increasing. Some orgs are starting to prioritize it. Has it made a difference? Does it matter? Should players be barred from wearing flip-flops when they walk on stage? Are we elevating the status here with this media training?
Ice.
I mean, I don't know, dude.
I didn't see that movie, but from what I understand, I believe that's Wakanda forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my taste of that at Dota Pit. It's like, hey guys, we want somebody to do winter interviews. Immediately, everyone fucks off, and I'm just standing there like a dope, like, huh? What? Me? Okay, I guess I'll do it. And then I get roped into doing all these interviews. I'm hosting the panel and doing the stage interviews. I'm like, hey, Suns fan, you didn't do anything today. How about you do the interviews? Oh, I don't know how to do interviews. I don't know any. What would I ask him? I don't have any questions. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm full to the brim with questions for KP for the third interview here. This is really good stuff. Thanks, guys. This is a layup. Don't worry.
And you were running from the interview back to
the grand finals. It's literally like, and now we're going right to the panel. Wow, guys, the grand finals were awesome. Let's send it to the front for the prize ceremony. It cuts to a bumper. I throw the headset, run to the front stage. Hey, guys, Zyori here on the front stage. Thanks, Zyori from the desk. Hey, who won that tournament? Was it Liquid? Oh, yeah. It was, hey,
Liquid over
Matumba
VG,
Man, what's going on? Hey, tell me about this patch, big boy. Yes, the patch is new. It's really crazy. Fuck everything, including Refresher Orb. All right, cool. Congratulations, guys. We're going back to the panel to see what they think. Bumper runs again. Throw the microphone. Run back to the desk. Hey, guys, Zyori here. Welcome back to the closing panel. It was crazy. It was madness. I don't know how we got on this tangent, but I enjoyed telling that story.
I enjoyed the story.
That tournament really sums up a lot of this year's circuit. That's a tournament that would have fallen so hard by the wayside if it was not for that patch dropping. Like, it was a minor. It was very understaffed. There were not a lot of us there. You pretty much worked the whole day.
It was a pretty bare bones event, It was that kind of like, hey, one person off, 2 people casting, 3 people panel, and that's the whole deal. So if somebody gets sick, you're at full load. It was an efficiency setup, which I can appreciate, but at the same time,
I love the.
I enjoyed it.
You don't call it cheap, you call it efficiency. I love it.
Efficiency, yeah. I mean, the event was definitely fun. I would happily do it again. I think we got on that tangent because I was thinking, I don't really know if I care about media training. I think if you inject a little bit of the Slacks energy into interviews like that, you can still make a no-one interview kind of interesting and funny, And
I love Slacks interviews when, especially the winners interviews, when he's super energetic and then he gets like nothing back. He's like, "So you want the major? Wow!" And then I can't think it was like VP at the Bucharest Major, and they gave him nothing. But there was one on-stage interview I remember from Manila Major, and this was when I first met Slacks, and he had to interview someone on stage, and they said, "Well, you're going to interview," I think it was Karaoke, and he's like, "Oh, what do you ask Karaoke? What do you ask Karaoke?" And I was like, I don't know. I gave him some questions, and then just before the interview went live, they said, "Oh, you're not interviewing Karaoke, you're interviewing Mind Control." And he interviews him, and I don't know if you saw this video. This is when Mind Control said he likes Snickers.
Oh.
No, I did not see that.
I don't know if I
so
saw
he had like nothing to ask. So he's like, "What do you eat? What do you eat to get you in the mood?" And then he's like, "I like Snickers." And then he's like, "He likes Snickers." And then later on, it transpired the Mind Control doesn't even like Snickers. He just didn't know what to say. So he just thought of the first thing that came to his mind.
That's like a classic Slacks moment. There are moments where it's fake, and there are moments where it is all too real, where he's just like, "Who's that guy?" It's just like, all right. Let me.
I got another really good story. He'll probably get very angry at me for telling this, but I won't name the team. But I think it's like Bucharest Major were doing a piece of content, and the players were supposed to interview come along. And what happened is one of the managers has decided to wear the T-shirt of one of the players. So Jake does not realize that it's not the player we're supposed to be doing content with. And he's like, "Hey, buddy!" And he's like, "You know I'm not the player, right?" He's like, "Yeah, sure. Who is this guy?" "Oh, hi, of course I know it's you." It was pretty funny. It's like one of the new players that no one knew what they looked like, but like Jake always tries like super hard and he's so energetic, and I think that's the part you can appreciate. Like the players are not going to try to make it hype, but Jake will like give everything, and if they're giving less, he'll give more. So I think that's like what makes it good. If you can get someone like Slacks who is kind of, you don't need media training. We got Slacks, just
I know he's the I don't know, he's the Swiss Army knife of the Dota 2 ecosystem, man. He saves everything. He does it all.
I actually just think there's a degree of practice. You know, like doing interviews isn't that hard, but it's like any other skill. The first one's really fucking awkward. The second one's still pretty awkward. And once you get to like the 10th or 15th interview, you're like, dude, this is a layup. Easy peasy. You know, this is Loda's 900th interview. It's easy. Just give me 5 minutes. Tell me what you thought. Okay, boom, on to the next one. You know, the guy's a professional. And it just takes a little bit of time. That's all. So for some of these players, it's like second or third interview on the main stage. It's difficult to just answer questions, and you're kind of I think a lot of them, whenever you ask them anything technical, are thinking, am I about to reveal any kind of information that could be a technical advantage to my opponent, you know? And you can say like, well, they're watching your shit and anything you say strategy-wise is going to be kind of obvious, but they don't want to take the chance. It's like, you know, I don't know if they noticed where that ward was, and I'm sure as fuck not going to point it out right now. You know, it's things like that I think also makes them want to clam up just a little bit.
I love it when they ask, they'll use some hero in a match, and they'll be like, wow, that worked out really well. Are you going to pick it more? Why would they tell you? Like, it's such a stupid thing to ask.
Yeah.
Why? Are we going to see you pick it more?
Or like, no. Have you been scrimming that hero and practicing it? Like,
why?
Yeah,
why
those kind of things.
Yeah.
But like, we want to know, so I get it. I understand why they're asking, but I also understand why they would never tell you.
Yeah, it's a little counterintuitive.
Let's see. Woohoo. Every time.
You know what feels like it's kind of dead, though? I mean, speaking on that media kind of quandary that we like talked about a while ago now, it feels kind of dead. Like as a third-party content creator, if you just want to be that independent guy that goes and gets a couple interviews and posts them on Reddit and that kind of shit, it's over. You know, you can't get attention that way. I remember back 5 or 6 years ago, you could just go to an MLG event. There's players just kind of standing around, and you can just walk up to them. And if you really bust ass and try to network and get people to talk on camera, you could walk away with 15 interviews in a couple of days and have a nice little piece at the end and have the community say, wow, look at this guy who really stepped up and made all this awesome supplemental content. Nowadays, tournaments do such a goddamn good job themselves of interviewing players and telling these stories and making all this good post-produced content.
And giving the players facilities where they can hide, more importantly.
That too. But I mean, there's a lot of these major tournaments. There's post-game interviews, there's pre-game interviews. They have full-on, like, it's just stock standard now. Every tournament you go to, there's a media day. You're going to pose for pictures. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but the players all know that it's worth it because it makes them look good on camera. It allows the tournament to be really flashy and cool, and the more viewers means the more value for the team, and it feeds the ecosystem, and it's this whole thing. And it's awesome, and it's helping all of us scale together, but that's one thing that's been left behind. You know, I remember the days of being that guy with my little DSLR camera and my little tripod and the one-man crew. It's like, hello there, sir. How are you today? And that, you know, that's a foundation, dude. You know, you got to get those stepping stones somewhere, and now it just feels like if I were me 5 years ago now, that's just not viable. Doing that is just a fucking waste of money and a waste of time. 10 people are going to watch those interviews and no one's going to give a shit. You're not going to be able to interview anybody interesting.
Likely.
Except, yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
I think Slack's managed to do it at TI4. I think if you've got enough resourcefulness, you will be able to do it. The problem is lots of pressers spend a lot of time sulking.
I mean, even that was 4 years ago, though. Don't you think?
Yeah, but I'm sure if you put if Slacks wasn't famous and he went to TI8 or whatever, I'm sure he'd be able to do it. Like, you just need to be able to network really well. And I think generally just, sadly, fans don't have it. They have an interest only a very small percentage of the players. That's the part I think is sad.
That's true.
Like, if you interview anyone who's not top 10, they just don't care. If it's not a player that's not, like, for example, like on Join Dota, sometimes I write about Chinese teams, and basically we'll never get clicks. People don't comment. And then if you don't write about Chinese teams, then, racists! Bias! But the thing is just, people are just not interested.
I love your mocking voice. It's my favorite part of this podcast.
Racist! Racist! Lawrence is racist!
I know what you mean, though. I mean, that's the thing. Anytime you have a wide audience, that's the thing, right? You're always looking for that middle slot, because if you avoid it, people are like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? And if you do it too much, they're like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? I don't give a shit about China. And it's, you know, it's, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
They don't. They just like they only care about a small percentage. Like if we wrote about Vega Squadron, no one cares. That's a pity. They're like they went to DPC. You should care about their players. Like if people consumed a wider variety of interviews, there would be more interviews to be had. The problem is that people only like interviews with certain players. What was crazy, I thought, was Epicenter was that no one wanted to interview No Tail and Fly. That was crazy. They were just standing there. No one wanted to grab them because everyone's interviewed them so many times. So effing mad was like overflowing with interviews, and everyone's going to have the same interview with the same player.
Yeah,
I think that so just think if fans had more interest in a variety of players, then there would be more content. It's just because everyone's going for the same guys, and they don't want to interview with the little people.
And I do agree with you that if Slacks wasn't popular and he went to TI8, he could still make some cool content and find a way to make headlines. But I think the opportunities are still a little bit less now because I think TI from TI4 to TI8 has improved a lot in terms of telling stories, interviewing players, humanizing players, and making that content a lot
TI7 was
better.
boring, wasn't it? TI7 boring? I thought it was boring. Like nothing happened.
I mean,
name something exciting.
Well, I'm talking about like the player backstory pieces, all that kind of content. All that, those are like, that is the quintessential level of interviews. It doesn't get better than that.
Oh, yeah, they go to their house.
It's like a mini documentary.
And there was like the VP like escape room piece. I remember was very good.
Yeah.
That one was very funny.
Anything like that, it's like that team now, what's the point of fucking interviewing that guy? I mean, sure, you still can if they're game for it, but it sets the bar so much higher that people just care less about your supplementary content when the supplementary content that is easy for them to consume is just magnitudes better, orders of magnitude. That's kind of the case I'm trying to make.
But at the same time, like, you can think of doing something a little different. I've been on production for PGL, and after doing that, I realized, like, why would a tournament organizer want press to interview players? We're interviewing players.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need someone else to interview them. But, like, for example, I think it's Cybersports doing this cool video where they combine the faces of two players. I don't know if you've seen that video.
No,
I don't think so.
So it's really good. I think it was on Reddit. So they combine the players like Kuroki and Puppy, Photoshop into one face, and the players have to guess which faces have been combined. And it's really good.
Okay.
They're doing
like
part two now. Part two. They're doing part two. I think it's called What the Face or Who's That Face? And it's really good. They got pro players and like ODPixel, like who is this guy? And it's a bit creepy and it's a bit cool. So I think if you're going to do interviews, you need to do something really unique. Like you have to do something different. Just standing in front of the microphone, that's dead. You need to think of something original. And if you do, then your content will be memorable. If people are just lazy, they're just like, I'm going to ask you some questions about your picks. Oh, you lost, how sad. Oh, you won, you must be very happy. Who wants that?
That is true. There is
I would not watch that.
To thinking outside of the box. Like Dota Radio is a perfect example. That shit never made a dime. We never had more than like 18 concurrent audio-only listeners, but still, it was kind of a novel idea, and it was novel enough that people that mattered were interested in what I was doing, So it's all about just doing something to get attention and then leveraging that for more, right? That's the Slack secret.
Kind of reminds me of that Slime guy who's now with BTS, right?
Slime? Who's that?
Yeah.
I don't
Isn't
know.
that his name? I think he was like he did some
Slime?
content in Smash and stuff, but he like, I don't know. His pieces are Slack-esque, but they're, I don't know how to describe them. You guys might have seen some of them, but anyway.
Was that the one where you threw the headset at the monitor? Or when someone got kicked in the balls?
No, I think that was a different guy. There was because they recently had a different production crew on their last thing. Anyway, the Slime guy did like interviews and stuff. It's more of that like daft, like I don't know who you are kind of thing. Like, oh, you're not important. Slight little put down humor, pretty funny. But all his pieces were just kind of different. They weren't boring interviews and everything like that. And now I believe he works for BTS full time.
Yeah, I mean,
that whole idea.
Sometimes it doesn't work out. Like at the Dark Willow, the one. Do you remember that?
The Bramble
Yes. How could I forget?
Yeah. I remember physically cringing as that was being filmed and debuted. That's cool. That one was brutal.
That's like an example of it not going very well. Like when I said to Slacks, hey, how about we make a real life Bramble? He's like, I'm going to tell you right now, that is a terrible idea. But yeah, I think just generally people need to be more creative. And then when fans are reading content, maybe comment more, maybe retweet, maybe like the stuff, maybe, promote people who are doing something different. That's the main
I love
thing.
this, dude. I've come to learn that life is just a propaganda war, and I love that you're spreading the propaganda of like, guys, you got to just get out there. You got to click on some ads. You got to click on some headlines. If you want to support the scene, you need to watch these goddamn videos. I don't care if you watch it on mute, motherfucker, but we need these numbers. Come on, get out there and support your local news outlets. I love it, Maly. You've got that energy. That's what I'm talking about. Why don't you start a podcast? Why is there no Join Dota podcast? Can we sell the Zyori Podcast to join Dota? What will they pay to have this kind of quality content on their network?
Quality.
I have no partner in crime. I need
surely you could introduce me to someone that could make some decisions.
You could make it. I thought about Join Dota podcast before. I thought it might be fun, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm at events or I'm busy, and then I wouldn't be able to do it regularly. I'm not a Zyori podcast. I don't know how to be.
Well,
organized.
I mean,
I couldn't even get my new headset working.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. You hire out. You can be the project manager. You can arrange some things, and then you just hire a production guy, hire a host, and boom, we're in there.
I saw Chef Josh is going to be at the BTS house doing content for MDL. So I mean, that's you. I mean, you could be the same thing. Why isn't Maly just going to be a talent now? Come along. If Chef Josh is going to come and do some content, we need you, buddy. I think that's the next step. Chef Josh got invited. We're going to bring Maly to the next thing. We're going to stick him on a panel. Let you go wild.
That is a terrible. I don't mind being behind the scenes making content.
That's why it'll be so good.
Yeah.
Dude, just wait. Wait for the next captain's draft where we're in control of production. Maly, did you see the closing to captain's draft? Did you watch that part?
I'm sure he did.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Remind me what
happened. So literally, it ends.
Suddenly?
We do the prize ceremony. Trent throws the confetti, and then we wrap up the panel, and then we say, "Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special musical treat for you. Here you go." And then it's just Slacks in the back screaming into the microphone. Was it gyrocopter? No, he did the.
Yeah, it was gyro.
It was gyro. Yeah, it was gyro. It was awful. And the idea was that he just wanted to scare the audience out, so it was just shots of the crowd leaving as he was screaming into the PA system. It was like some Andy Kaufman type shit, That's just a small microcosm of what happens when we're in control of production, and the guys in the back are like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And we're like, "Listen, motherfucker, we're paying you. You do this. You show those people leaving." They didn't get it, but we captured the essence of what we were trying to grab.
They zoomed in on the one chunk of people that were staying. With everyone else,
and they're making that face where they're like pretending to like it, and they can't tell if it's a joke or not, and they see themselves on the screen, and they're just kind of like, "I don't know what to do. This is so actually painfully awful. I just want to leave, but I want to support the team. So fuck." It was so Maly, you're gonna do great on the panel. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna get you and Jack on the same panel. We're gonna have a delay a game, and we're gonna do the next Phil panel with you on there to take some audience questions. I think it's gonna be.
Oh, I'd like to do that.
We're planning out this breakthrough moment right now, pal.
When he said about that singing, I remember once Jake had a stream, and he was like, "I'm going to unveil something really exciting," and I can't remember what it was. I thought it was going to be like another Lorgasm video or something like that. And then everyone said like 2,000 viewers watching like a black screen, and then suddenly it's like, and it didn't even have the video. It was before he had the video, so it was just him screaming, and people stayed there to listen. So I think people do actually want to listen to the. I stood there. I was just so shocked. I just stayed to listen and falling for this.
Yep. Well, there you go.
Oh, someone actually tweeted me. I think it was Praeoratory and Dota. He said, talk about the casters, because a couple of the casters at Epicenter, they won a competition. So
yes.
Maybe you guys could talk about that.
You mean like the new blood that were casting the event?
So what happened was they had a caster competition. If you guys don't know this, for the qualifiers, a bunch of people attempted. So basically, I think the rule was if you had never casted a major or something, then you could enter the contest.
Was it a major or minor?
Maybe it was minor too. I don't know.
I don't know. Grant was there. He said
and I think he did a minor.
Oh, but anyway, he did Dota with us, dog.
So they all did their little contest thing, and then they said they were only going to pick one winner. It sounded like, or maybe like a pair, but they ended up bringing 6 people. So they brought Breaky, Grant, Mothra, and Nomad,
Killer Pigeon.
Pigeon and B-Cop. So
that's a lot of new
crazy.
Yeah, that's it's pretty cool. I only watched so much of Epicenter. I kind of, like, per usual, I caught the highlights. You know, I didn't really grind it because it was such a long event. But it seemed like Reddit was behind him, man. The times have changed so much over the last half decade. You know, now it's just like, look at these new guys. They did really well, guys. We gotta prop them up. You know, we gotta point out the good stuff. We gotta be constructive. No, am I completely
you weren't
wrong?
reading Reddit, eh?
That didn't happen. There was like,
Did they get completely
there was
bashed?
some good stuff. There was some nice things.
I mean, comparatively. I know it wasn't just like that, but
you're right. They were nicer than you would have expected.
From what I skimmed for, like, and it, now mind you, all right, this is difficult. It's hard to go from, it's an awesome opportunity, and for some of these people, it could be a breakout opportunity, and at some point, you got to get that first shot. But it's fucking hard. It's like the scariest thing in your life to go from, I've only cast at home, to, all right, we're at Epicenter now, let's do this. And it's tight butthole type moments. You know, you really, like, it takes a few of those events to get the nerves out. And it's
and that is a crazy stage. I mean, that is insanely loud. And you're not the native language, so your voice, you're fighting with a Russian voice overhead.
Yeah, that's way louder than you. It's
so difficult.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's just objectively tough. And yeah.
There's quite a good story actually about I interviewed Mo Farah and Nomad. I haven't published it yet, but they said something really interesting. Like, Mo Farah was actually injured for like 2 years where he couldn't walk. And he actually only started casting because he couldn't do anything else. So he only started casting like maybe a month or two ago, and he attended a major. Pretty incredible.
That is pretty wild. That's
because Nomad's been doing it for like 4 or 5 years, and then he needed a co-caster for this thing, and his friend's like, Mo Farah's like, I'm gonna try. So only like 1 or 2 months, and he already cast a major. And they said they were actually reading the comments on Reddit in between games, which they were warned not to do. But they did it. They did it anyway.
Oh, those rascals. Those.
And then he made a public post actually, sort of acknowledging the feedback, which I think was great, because they said something really interesting to them. They said, we don't want to be the best casters at the major, but we'd like to be the most improved. And I thought that was like quite a good way to approach it.
They definitely improved a lot. He was like screaming the first game. Can't blame him, honestly, again. And he improved very well into game 2.
It's a rite of passage.
What happened.
We've all been there. LD's is more iconic than most of us, but every single caster that's made it has a moment where you're on that. I remember it was my Star Ladder 10 or 11, one that I was hosting. I was casting a hype semifinal, and I was just like, oh my God, they're doing it! Oh my God, it's Vegas! And LD was just like, listen, dude, I can tell you're really excited, but you need to just bring it back down to like 9 or 9.5. Right now you're at 11 and you're just blowing it out. You're not going to last. You gotta simmer. And, it happens to the best of us.
My most painful moment I can remember, it wasn't even a LAN. It was just casting a qualifier, and I fucked up about
this Animage. He bought a butterfly, and then literally 2 minutes later, he sold it. And because of the way he'd been moving around his items, I thought he accidentally sold it because it didn't make like any sense. Because literally he had it for like 40 seconds or something stupid, and he sold this butterfly again. And he didn't have that much cash. But I didn't realize that he had just noticed MKBs picked up by 2 cores at the exact same time when neither of them had like, and this was back, when it was 100% or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh my God, he just fucked up and sold his butterfly, blah, blah, blah. And I got a DM from AUI after, who was just watching the cast. And he was like, dude, he did not, that was, he did not, unintentionally sell his butterfly. Like, come on, dude.
DM.
No one's ever going to do that. Yeah.
At least he told
AUI
you.
is great for that.
Yeah.
He's sent me a couple before. So,
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh.
It hurts.
That one really makes me cringe. Like, ugh.
Yeah. It
felt so stupid.
It happens. I mean, honestly, that is, in a lot of ways, that's what separates like the real tier 1 casters from people that are still moving up, because every single tier 1 caster has had a moment on camera where they have fucked up hard, and they've been super embarrassed about it, and people have noticed. But it's what you do after that matters. Does that become the discouraging moment where you give up, or does that become a moment where you go, well, I'm never fucking doing that again, and it becomes a really powerful lesson learned that pushes you to move to the next level. So, I think Reddit is realizing that. Just because you messed up now doesn't mean you're going to do that forever. People can definitely improve quickly.
Yeah, but the thing is, they change really quickly, because they had a thread which is like, dude, stop shouting, lol. And then the guy's like, hello, I'm Mo Farah. Sorry about all the trouble. And everyone's like, no worry, you're doing great, brilliant, best
I know.
ever.
Oh, I know. It's all overblown, but that's what I'm saying. It's representative of just they're trying to be a little bit more support. Listen, this is better than the old, like, Zyori when he got hired at BTS, and, like, the old AC days where it's like, who the fuck is this guy? Get him out of here! I don't want him near my Dota. He doesn't know anything. You know, and they're just like, it makes you not want to do it anymore. Like, it kind of scared AC off. It just made him stop reading Reddit. There was a point where I was just like, all right, I almost quit BTS several times. I was like, this is just not fun. I don't want to have to go to work every day and be accosted by people that tell me I'm an idiot and that I'm a homosexual because I didn't understand this mechanic about MKB. I'm sorry, guys. My bad. I'm working on it. And they were unfucking relenting. And I got a haircut and it all changed. It turned out that in the entertainment industry, they're quite vain. You know, it really helps.
Yeah, it turns out. Yeah.
Still.
That was your turning point, lol dreads. I had an idea. What about, I talked to Mofar and Nomad. What about if they had like DPC points for casters? Because like my issue at the moment is that it seems that the tier 2 casters have to do all the regionals just so the tier 1 casters can cast the main event. And I don't think that's very fair. I think it should be a couple of the casters who cast the majority of the regionals should maybe be invited, like epicenter kind of system. But what do you guys think about it?
I don't know, man. That's always how it's been, right? So I'm a little bit.
Doesn't mean it can't change. I just mean
but I get to go to the events now, so don't change it now. I did my time.
Well,
fuck that.
You're retired.
I put in my hours.
It's just the nature of it, though, you know, because it's the qualifiers in the main event are so completely different in terms of the stakes, the viewership, the expectations, the production flow. It's like day and night now, you know, like Super Major. It's just a pretty basic 2-person cast with like a 3 scene XSplits or a OBS setup. The Super Major is going to be out of control with production, right? So it kind of makes sense that there's a different tier of broadcasters that are used for the qualifiers versus the actual LAN portion of the Super Major, you know?
What about the minor? What about minors should have?
I think minors definitely, and I actually do agree that
okay,
it would help to stagger the talent tiers at events. Not only because then you don't necessarily have the exact same tier 1 talent every single event, which for a lot of this year we did have. Yeah, and then it is going to be boring. You know, it's nice to have people mixed up and everything. So I think it would be pretty nice to have some newer casters, even if they're just doing group stage. You know, some of these events, especially as people complain more and more about formats, are going to have 2, 3, 4 streams. It's going to happen. You're going to have 2 days of 4 streams. I'm pretty sure at a DPC event next year that won't be TI. You know, everyone really wants these perfect formats, and so those kind of secondary streams are the perfect place to have a newer caster coming, kind of get their sea legs. You know,
they're so energetic. That's what I love about the 2 guys,
definitely.
the 2 Brits. Like the resident, they're like doing nothing for a whole month, and they just turn up and then they do their thing. But the cast is so energetic. Like those 2, they're really like casting a football match. They're just so exciting. I don't know. I like those kind of new energy.
It's just fresh, you know. You even really good casters that you like, if you hear them too much, it feels nice to hear some new blood that have that, like you said, that raw energy. I think Toby wrote a blog or did recorded a vlog or something about that idea of, it's not that I'm less hyped now, it's just, you know, back in the day, those were genuinely like, I've never seen this before. Like, holy shit, it's a 5-man black hole. This is rocking my world. You see that 10 times and it's like, this is still hype, but it's not the same as the first time I saw it, and that's the difference that you're hearing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean.
So no, that's absolutely a real thing, and I'm all about giving people opportunities, and I think it's a necessity. Is, you know, like people like LD have shifted more to management over the years. I used to be more of a caster, and I've shifted a little bit more like into management roles. So there are opportunities where kind of that old guard of casters are now taking less and less gigs, and there are so many events that you sort of have to hire other people outside of that norm because, you know, there's a shitload of tournaments. So it's happening a little bit naturally, but I do think you got to earn your stripes. I mean, a lot of those, the people that are tier 1 casters now had a lot of years in grinding. And I hate to sound like that old guy that's like, back in my day, you had to work for free for 3 years before you got invited to a LAN. And then they didn't even pay your travel. But there's a little bit of truth to that. You know, I don't really give a shit if you grinded qualifiers for 6 months. Congratulations. You know, do it for a few years and then tell me how that's treating you. You know, things are moving, Maly, but come on, the grind is still real. You got to get in your hours.
I worked really hard.
If you've got less than 3,000 hours in your Dota client, you can fuck off with that. I should be going to the minor. Like, come on, you know.
It's way harder now to be a caster than before. I mean, way harder now. There's so many more people, and
it's so not. It's actually not. People are fucking babies,
Why?
dude. If you're good, you'll get up. Because it's not that hard. Just turn on your fucking stream. It's not hard.
I think it was harder before. The pay used to be shittier. The amount of support used to be shittier. The scheduling used to be a lot shittier. everything is just overall improved now. Tournaments are working together, so tournaments flow much better. Broadcast days make more sense. The pay for online casting, at least from our perspective, has definitely improved over the last 3 years. I mean, anecdotally, it's like night and day.
Look at Breaky. What did Breaky have? He had fucking nothing. And he got epicenter.
Famous. But he was friends with someone famous, like Breaky was friends with Peter. That's good. You've got to factor that in. I'm not saying he's not a good caster, but he did know people.
All right, what did I have
because of Heroes of News.
I had fuck all. I had literally nothing.
You had Moonduck, baby. You had.
Yeah, where did that come from? You started Moonduck without me. I got left at High Ground TV. I was nothing but a stats guy.
Well,
I had literally nothing. Fucking nothing.
This is a really rags to riches story. Come on, tell us more. Tell us more about your painful plight.
It really is true, though. There's always been that degree of, like, sacrifice where you have to take that plunge, and it's a fucking risk. It's like, I have a job. I'm putting that on the shelf. I'm going to make some money grinding casting. I don't know how much it is. I'm going to take anything that comes my way. I'm going to do the combination. I'm going to grind hours. I'm going to grind practice. And, one day I'm going to get that breakthrough moment. Sometimes that takes a year, and some of us are lucky in the sense that we have a partner or we're in a position or we have savings or we can say, okay, I can commit the next 8 months to my life. And worst case, if I flop at this whole thing, I'm not going to go bankrupt. I'm not going to starve. I can still get another job, And that's really the hard part. Not everybody has that luxury, and that's really shitty. But at the same time,
that is the hardest part.
That doesn't mean that you get de facto invited to a minor just because you spent 4 months grinding your ass off. That's
okay. Fair enough.
But maybe I'm biased because
I got one question.
I'm tough.
Okay.
You said about the money, right? About making it. I grinded so hard. Who should get more money? I'm really interested about this. Does the caster and the analyst, do they get the same amount of money? That's why I've always been curious.
For MOONDUCK operations, any gig where we control the money, it's always an even split. Every time I can think of.
Is that common, like in general, in like other tournaments? Does the analyst normally get more, or is it always, or do they split?
No, it's definitely the same.
It's almost always the same. Like when I was working at BTS, like as a kind of a newbie caster, when I was casting with Synderin, he was paid more than me. He would get $30 a game and I would get 10 or something. But that's like, I'm the brand new guy that nobody's heard of and he's fucking Synderin. So that's sort of understandable.
Okay.
Those crazy breakpoints, I think sometimes, but generally speaking, if it's like Suns Fan and Synderin or something, it's an even split. I think some orgs maybe pay the person doing the production a little more. Like you could say, okay, it's $40 per game and split it up however you want. If you want to do 25-15 because this guy's controlling the camera and this guy's just talking into a microphone, that's on you. But we usually just keep it simple and keep it 50-50, and it's just one of those, the play-by-play guy gets to control the camera and do the production, and you just deal with it. Life's tough. If you don't like it, you can find another fucking job.
Hey, man, I try to carry extra hard in those casts, okay?
That's true.
I tried.
Well, that's what I mean. It's just a team effort, Like, analysts have a different job, and, it's more suited because you want your analyst to be able to look around and be able to see things on the map, and it's just, it comes with the territory. It makes sense that the play-by-play person should do it, and we don't see that as like, congratulations, you did your job. You get so much more money. It's I'm not trying to belittle the analyst, so even just seems fair. It's hard to argue with.
I was always interested in that because I thought personally analysts should get more.
Really?
I don't know. I just think like
even if play-by-play is doing production.
At a LAN, if you have an OBS, that kind of makes sense.
Well, LAN, so that's different. LAN is different from online. If we're talking about
I meant LAN.
You're talking about LAN. Okay, I was talking completely about just grinding online qualifiers.
Okay,
but even at LAN, they get paid the same.
LAN, it's usually the same. I think panelists tend to get paid more than casters for whatever that's worth. So if you're like a panelist analyst, it's either the same or I think panelists tend to be more. It's either equal,
they might get a little more,
or it might be more.
Yeah,
because
sometimes they'll make a point of it.
It's a little bit harder in the sense the days are longer and you have to fill more and be more versatile, and it's a little bit more pressure. That like, all right, guys, got an extra 5 minutes. You need to really step up your game. Whereas casting is, unless there's a long pause, it's a little more straightforward and reactionary. And I don't want to make it sound like play-by-play casting is easy because it's not, but I think it's a little bit easier.
It's easier than paneling.
Paneling,
you have nothing to build off of unless the production's very good and there's a lot of graphics and there's a lot of stuff for you to talk about. Don't like when you're play-by-play or analyst in the middle of a game, you have a game. That is your canvas. It is things are happening. All you have to do is describe what's happening and build off of that. When you're paneling, sometimes it's just like there's this silence and there's no production up and you just got to be like, What do you guys think about Slardar? Huh? All those Slardar where are those at?
I'm going to give you guys a little tip. You know that I'm really struggling to carry a panel through a break when I bring up the old. So who do you guys think is the worst hero in Dota right now? That's one of my favorite questions because people always give goofy answers, but that's like my fallback. Like, guys, I'm on reserves here. We're running on fumes. We're going to a break in T-. Yep, Techies is the worst. Okay, great. Moving on.
I remember on the panel at Epicenter, there was a really funny moment. Like, they're trying to drag on the panel, and then Kyle's like, how do you beat Luna, Bulldog? How do you beat Luna? You're a pro gamer. And he's like, you win the game. And they're like... And then Capitalist is thinking, wow, these guys are idiots. Like, they're getting paid for this. And he says, wow, you guys are terrible analysts. But at the end of the day, they could say anything they like as a panel. So I think, maybe the panelists deserve more. They've got nothing less to work with, right?
And you have to be...
it's very hard.
There's a degree where you just need to be entertaining, you know? Like, Slacks and Sunsfan are two good examples of that. Like, you can fill with things that are kind of tangentially related to Dota and kind of out there. But if it's entertaining, people like it, and that's kind of a good thing, which for some people, I guess, comes naturally, but for others, that's very difficult, and it's way easier to just talk in the context of this match, this game. Okay, game's over. Let's throw it back to those guys and see what they thought about it, and then you're done. That's it. You know, you do your series, and you're done for the day, and you walk away, and that's cool, and just watch the games. But yeah, all that I think has gotten a lot better for talent. Like for these big events, generally speaking, like pay, travel accommodations, just being able to interface with production and not being hung out to dry, all that kind of stuff has come a long way. It's nice feeling like you're part of the team when you go to these like big PGL events and they ask you for feedback and, you know, they have a vision for production, but it's a give and take, you know, and that didn't used to be the case. It used to just be that, all right, here's the 45-minute pre-show. Go for it, boys. All right, what are the assets? We don't have any. We're starting in 10 seconds. Headsets on. Go, 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 go. And you're like, okay, you know. What?
Hotels are, you get good accommodation, all that stuff. Now I remember, I think it was the Kiev Major. We're staying in this really amazing hotel. It's beautiful. It's like marble floor. You've got everything in the room. You've got a washing machine. You've got a jacuzzi in the room. And then I'm like, one of the managers of the teams come downstairs like, wow, this hotel's really amazing. The coffee machine doesn't work. And he's really pissed off at the desk complaining. He's like, worst hotel ever. Coffee machine doesn't work.
It is tough. I don't know. It's a fun line. Wasn't there a headline a while ago about a Counter-Strike player or team that was complaining about how bad the gym was at the hotel? And like, it's unacceptable. The gym does not have a Bowflex.
I didn't see that.
Oh my. So Maly, do you need to get out of here? Are we past your time?
Like a couple of minutes.
All right. Cool. So. But I don't know. I think things have come a long way. Honestly, I think we have all learned a lot from this season of DPC, even though it's not totally over yet. I'm excited to see what the next season has in store, you know, how they balance it. I'm almost positive there will be less events. I think everyone's feeling the grind, but I don't know. I think things are moving relatively quickly, it feels like, and for the better. As someone involved in the space, I feel pretty good. You know, I feel... on the grand scope of things, pretty darn good.
Better this year than at the end of the same time last year.
The same time.
Feels
so
better now.
What were we doing at the end of 2016? What was
TI was coming up. We were lamenting that TI invites weren't going to happen, even though everyone was telling me TI invite was going to happen. I was going to get invited, and then I didn't, even though, you know, so that's life. I remember that was happening.
Yep. So it was
that time of the year, dude. It's all you think about.
That TI was pretty fun, though. I remember that was like a big MOONDUCK bonding moment, and I think we were feeling pretty good at the end of that year. I remember our
hubs. That's what was happening.
Yep.
Hubs.
I remember our MOONDUCK board meeting at the end of the year was very enthusiastic. We had some profits, and we were split on, do we spend the money on hubs or do we save it for something better? And I was one of the loud... Slacks and I were the two loud voices saying we have to do hubs. We got to go against, we got to put our foot down. We got to show people that BTS aren't the only one that can do hubs that are fun. And that cleaned out the MOONDUCK savings. And I don't know if it was a mistake. One of the hubs was awesome. One of the hubs was kind of a grind. So we were feeling okay. I think at this point, it's very different. It's a much different ball game having like a Midas mode and captain's draft under our belt. We have just a completely different set of problems and things we're trying to deal with and stuff we need to do to scale the company. So it's cool, but it's different. It's a different sort of confidence, I guess.
S4 said he wants a captain's draft event. I talked to him. He said he really wants captain's draft. He said captain's mode's boring now, stale.
Good.
For the support of S4.
Good. We need it. We need the support. Captain's Draft I like it, man. It's fun doing events like that.
Love it.
That have a different
Very
flair.
good.
I'm pumped.
Captain's Draft Major, boys. Next year, let's go. Come on, Valve. Let it happen.
Yep.
Give it to us.
Yep. It's going to be sponsored by the
Moonduck.
Mooseheads.
More Moonduck people. Look, it's Moonduck event has all these Moonducks.
Moonduck trash.
Well, it's all these
Oh,
Moonduck
trash.
people and Jack. What's going to happen? Poor Jack, dude. That's like that's going to become our thing now. Just Moonduck events. We invite Jack so we can torture him on panels.
It was enjoyable. It was very much like that. Jack is a real team now, dude. VGJ Storm, what that team? They slaughtered.
I know.
They've been very good lately.
What is
Maybe
the
they
deal
can make a deep run for TI, dude.
with Jack falling asleep though? It went from kind of like a joke to a real thing where he's just.
Dude, he just plays Dota all night.
I think
you
he has
ever opened your
narcolepsy.
client?
Yeah, but it's not normal to just like, all right, I'm farming in the jungle. Oh fuck, I fell asleep for 45 seconds. Sorry
There's
guys,
power naps, dude.
I fed in the tower because I literally passed out and micro napped for 60 seconds. But I'm back now. I'm gonna win the game. Let's go. Like what is going on, dude? What's happening in your life that is your reality? I love you, Jack, but you need help.
You know how there's like that, there's like you give so much time to sleep, to schoolwork, to work kind of a deal when you're in university and you're having fun and you gotta create that balance. Jack has done the same thing with like working on the team, playing Dota, and sleeping. And he has just folded that sleep thing into just nothing, and now it's starting to bust out in all the other spots. So it's like in the middle of everything else he does, he has to sneak in those sleeps. Because other than that, he's just Dota or working on his team.
Yeah.
Science.
So, okay, cool. Well, Mr. Mousetrix, it was a pleasure, man. I'm glad we were able to make it happen. I'm glad we were able to finally hear you. Those technical issues made it built the suspense. So that was exciting.
Yes.
Thank you for that. That's
It
it.
shouldn't have been that. It shouldn't have been that difficult.
No.
It shouldn't have been.
I mean,
that difficult.
TeamSpeak is complicated.
Yeah, but now that we've got it figured out, maybe we could have you back again. Any closing thoughts, remarks? Shout out to Join Dota, or
Shout out to Join Dota. I interviewed Admiral Bulldog. You should check that out. I just published it today. Visit Join Dota. Best website ever. And please comment nicely. That'd be nice.
Nice. Yes.
No, that's a good positive message, and that's good.
Yeah.
We could all take a page out of the Malistrix book. So
There was one moment last week. I remember. I can't remember what tournament it was. I was doing a work for another project, and then it's like 2:00 in the morning. I thought, I know what, I should probably write something for Join Dota. People might like a little preview or something of the next day's game. So I was really tired. Wrote it anyway. Posted it, and I typed. It was a newbie game. And when you search in our back office, it searches the teams that begin with the same letter, and I by mistake entered Na'Vi into the text. Like, I think it was twice, and I didn't notice. So I went to sleep, woke up in the morning. Worst website. Who is this guy? And you think, I just thought of the effort. I thought they might like something. It's obvious because they start with the same letter. It's obviously like a mistake. But then all the comments like, So sometimes that's hard. So that was pretty funny. So they start with the
ruthless.
same letter. Please have mercy.
it's a tough world out there. It's tough. We feel your pain, pal. But all right. That wraps this thing up. You guys know where to find it. It's up there on iTunes and Google Play and that little Zyori.tv website and the Moonduck YouTube, and that'll do it. So we'll see you guys next time. Trent and I probably won't be doing too much until China, but we're going to China, baby.
China.
So keep an eye on.
Moonduck.